Hey y'all, it's Sky Diva. Let's make my version of a 3-2-1 bow. Here's what I'm using. I have 3 ribbons. I have my scissors, my Easy Bow Maker, and my Bodabra wire. And here are the 3 ribbons I'm going to use today. I've got 2 2.5s, and a 1.5. I have a 2.5 that has a pattern with bees and daisies. I have a complementary color in yellow. And then I have a 1.5 yellow with daisies and butterflies. So all 3 of these ribbons complement each other. So before I get started, I'm going to cut me a length of my Bodabra wire. And this wire it's not at any particular length. I just cut a long enough length that I know that when I get ready to put this bow on a wreath, it's long enough. I fold it in half. And then I slide it down in between the 2 long dowels on my Easy Bow Maker. And so I'm using the Easy Bow Maker today. I did have to tighten up my dowels, so it's going to be super tight because they tend to loosen over time. But I like it because I don't have to hold my bow while I'm constructing it. So I'm starting with the 2.5 in the bees and daisy pattern. I'm doing an 8-inch tail. And then I'm going to slide it in between those 2 dowels. You'll see me shimmying it down in there because it's tight. And I'm going to make 6-inch loops. So you see me taking my hand. The Easy Bow Maker is great because it has the markings and the measurements on it. So it's great for newbies who are making bows. And I've been making bows for a while, and I always tend to use either my Easy Bow Maker or my Bodabra when I'm making bows because it's a nice place to hold my bow as I'm constructing it. So once I get my 6-inch loop, what I do is I pinch and then I twist the ribbon. And the reason I twist the ribbon is because when I make the loop on the other side, I need my ribbon to be right side up, not upside down. You don't want the back end of my loop showing. So there I am measuring again, and then I pinch and I twist. And I'm going to make 3 loops on each side for a total of 6 loops. So that's my first set of 3 in the 3-2-1 bow. It means 3 loops, 2 loops, and then essentially 1 loop. But I'm going to forego the 1 loop when I get to my last set of ribbons. So there I am pinching and twisting for loop number 2. And I'm pushing down to make sure it's there. I'm moving that loop out the way just so I can continue to see my measurements. And with bows, your loops do not have to be exact. You don't have to be that precise because nobody's going to know but you. But I do like for them to be twins, or triplets in this instance, since I'm making 3 loops. So I'm pushing down. You see me making, so I've got, here is my next loop. And I'm continuing to use my hand to kind of make sure that when I pull up and pinch and twist, that they're about even. So now I've got 2 loops on each side. And now I'm going to make my 3rd loop. And so I'll have 2 loops angled up, 2 loops angled down, and 2 loops that'll be straight across from each other. And you can get your Easy Bow Maker. I got mine from Amazon. I've had it for years. Like I said, other than the fact that the dowels come out, it's fine. So I've got my 6 loops. Then I cut another 8-inch tail. And you see me trying to decide if I'm going to do a tail up or down. That's just me. And next, I'm going to start with my next 2.5-inch ribbon in that complementary color of yellow. So I like to break up my patterns with a solid just so you can see all of the different patterns of ribbons when I'm using multiple ribbons. Sometimes I only use 1. You can use 2. I've used at some point 6. Completely up to you. It's your bow. I am going to do an 8-inch tail. And then again, I'm still going to pinch and twist, because just because it is a solid colored ribbon doesn't mean that there's no underside. There's a side that you see the seams, and then there's the right side. So you know the right side up. So you'll see me making sure I pinch and twist. Now this loop, I'm going an inch in. So instead of a 6-inch loop, there's a 5-inch loop. And I'm only going to do 2 loops. Remember, I'm making a 3, 2, 1. So I did 3 loops on my first ribbon. I'm going to do 2 loops on each side for ribbon number 2. And I'm also going an inch in. So it's going to be slightly smaller so that when I fluff my bow, you'll still be able to see all 3 ribbons. It's like rinse and repeat. 5-inch loop. Get it situated. Pinch and twist so that my loops are right side up. So I've got 2 loops on one side. I'm going in with that second loop on the other side. And then I'm going to cut another 8-inch tail. And I'm always pushing my ribbons down just so I can make sure it's tight when I pull it up. And you see me placing, so I'm sort of placing them in place. So I'm pulling that middle loop down, and there you can see it's taking shape. So once I get there where I want it, I'm going to cut this 8-inch tail, and then I'm going to go in on my third ribbon. So my third ribbon is a 1.5 inch with those same daisies, but instead of bees, it's got butterflies. But the thing about this ribbon is it's a direction ribbon, which means the butterflies are going one direction. So when I get ready to cut the tail, you'll see that I don't, it's not a continual ribbon. So you'll see that in a second. Anyway, 8-inch tail. I'm going to pinch and twist, and I'm going to slide it in, and I'm going another inch in. And so these loops are going to be 4 inches, and I'm going to make 1 loop on each side. So there, remember 3, 2, 1. So I'm going to make 1 loop. So I'm making sure that it's that 1 inch in, and then I'm going to pull it up, pinch and twist. And yes, your ribbon is going to do all kinds of crazy things. And I'm going to make my second loop. My second loop on the other, my first loop on the right hand side. Can't get my words together. And then what I'm going to do is, you could cut it and make a tail, but I want a center loop. So I'm making a small center loop that I did not measure. And instead of cutting an 8-inch tail, because remember, see that butterfly is upside down? I don't want it upside down. I want it right side up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and trim. I'm going to cut my ribbon. And then I'm going to cut a separate tail. So you always give you some, ½ inch or so versus of leftover ribbon, so that when you pull up and secure it, your center loop won't come loose. So I've cut an 8-inch tail, and then I'm going to make it where it's right side up. So you see me lifting that center loop, and then I'm laying that tail down in separately underneath that center loop, and then I'm putting that center loop back down so that it's secure. So see, both butterflies are going the correct direction. Once I get that done now, I'm going to take the 2 ends of my Bordabra wire, and the 2 ends, I'm going to slip through the loop that I made when I folded it in half and make a slip knot. And then I'm going to gently pull it up. And once I pull it all the way up, I'm going to try to cinch it up underneath it. And then I'm going to flip this bow over, and I'm going to tie some knots, because I want my bow super tight and secure so that it doesn't come apart. I have yet to have a bow to come apart on me, and I'm not trying to start now. So that's me tying that into a knot and pulling it tight. And I'm going to do a couple of knots, which I totally recommend. And then the remaining part of that wire is what I'll use when I get ready to secure it to the wreath. That's why I don't cut it. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking that ribbon, I'm folding it in half, and I'm cutting at an angle going up. And that's called dovetailing. You don't necessarily have to do it that way. You could just cut it at an angle, just like a slice. Dovetail just is prettier. And so, see, there's your dovetail. And the reason they call it a dovetail is because it looks like, a dove's tail. Duh. So, I got jokes today. Anywho, you see me cutting the ends of all of the tails, and I have to make sure that I get all of them. And then, as you've heard me say, I'm gonna fluff. Fluff, fluff, fluff. So the nice thing about the 3-2-1 bow is you've got 3 at the bottom, and then you have your 2, and then you have 1. So you should be able to see all of your ribbons and all of your tails. So that's me holding my bow, pulling out. I start at the bottom, and then I go to the next set of the next set of loops, because really I want that yellow to sit in the gap in between those 3. And then, of course, my 1 ribbon, I want it to sit. And that's me trying to decide if I want that tail to go up or down. Ultimately, I decide that I want it to stay down. That may change when I secure it to whichever wreath I'm going to make to match this. And then my center loop is nice because it hides the bow dabber wire. With this being a yellow bow, you're not going to see that gold wire. But it's always nice, to put that center loop in. Or I could have cut another piece of ribbon and folded it in half and then covered, that wire in the middle. It's completely up to you. Again, it's your bow. Now, the thing about the bow, you've heard me say, yeah, I'm fluffing it now on this table, but yeah, it's going to need to be refluffed when I put it on the ribbon, on the wreath. And so I'm going to show you what it looks like on a wreath. And congratulations, you've done it.